Welcome to the call. Great morning. Today's March 17th, 2022. And my name is Pamela Pacheco, and I have the honor, pleasure, and privilege of being your host today. And what we have been discussing this morning is marketing, right? We were listening to a Robert Kiyosaki audio. So I would definitely recommend it for anybody that has never heard it. Just type in YouTube Why Network Marketing by Robert Kiyosaki, and you will see that video. It's a 20-minute video, and I had it at regular speed, but you guys can literally, here's a hack, right? When you do want to go through things that you want to get through a lot of content, you can put the speed of the video up, right? So you can, whether it's an audio you're listening to, whether it's a video that you're watching, you can put up the speed to 1.5, 1.75. Sometimes I do 2x if the person talks a little too slow for me. But needless to say, it is important that we are constantly renovating our minds, right? Because two thoughts cannot occupy our mind in the same time. So what are you doing on a daily basis to continuously strengthen that? Because here's the reality. People stop doing what it is that we're doing in network marketing because they forget why they started, right? Because they forget why they started, and that's okay. However, understand that when you have somebody like Robert Kiyosaki, right, that is, a millionaire maker, that is a wealth guru endorsing this industry, pay attention. And yes, Suheni, he spoke at one of our events many years ago. And it was one of those things that when I heard him speaking, yes, in Baltimore, I was like, wow, but that all makes sense, right? Because when he is talking about, yes, absolutely. When he is talking about, why he's endorsing the industry of network marketing, right? It's really, he's also talking about it's because you want to know what side of the quadrant you want to be on, right? And when you're thinking you're like, what the heck, what kind of quadrant is she talking about, right? He's talking about the cash flow quadrant. And it's linear income versus residual income. And it's basically active income versus passive income, right? So linear income is you clock in, right? You make $1. You clock out, you stop making money, right? Versus your residual income, right, is money that keeps coming in for activities that you did one time. So it's like, which side of the quadrant do you want to be on, right? So on the left side of the quadrant is the linear income, right, of the cash flow quadrant. And let me see if I could just bring this up for y'all real quick. Let's see how this looks. Or maybe not. It's okay. You guys could just listen. But on the left side, right, we have the employees, right? And it's like the employee, you have a job. We also have the self-employed, where you own a business or you own a job. Well, on the right side, right, where is the residual side, is you have the business owner on the top right, that the business owners, you own a system, right, that works for you. And you also have the investor on the right side, where money works for you. So which side do you think that we want to be on? We definitely want to be on the right side, right? But where do we spend a lot of our lives? On the left side, right? We spend our lives on the left side. So as we're transitioning, and the reason why I started this morning with that audio is because when we're talking about this industry of network marketing, when we're showing our prospects, it's like, are you certain, right? What are you certain of, not only the opportunity that you have in your hand, but are you certain that this industry can be a blessing to anybody in life, to anybody that is ready to get to the other side of the quadrant, to anybody that is ready to truly experience the essence of freedom, right? And so when we are closing, and last week we spoke about, getting somebody started and what did the basics look like, and knowing that we have to strengthen our minds, and knowing that we have to make a list, and what does that list look like? We talked about certain questions that you can use as memory joggers, right? We talked a little bit about inviting. We talked a little bit about the 3-way call. We talked about promotion of events, because without our events, we really will be nowhere, right? Because we are a product of our product, and the more we get good at promoting events, right? The events will do a lot of the jobs for us. The events will upgrade our teammates. The events are, what keeps the fire burning, right? The events is where we get all of the top announcements, and man, there are some amazing things that are coming, but the events is really a reunion also, right? But today, I want us to talk a little bit more about closing and a little bit more about the power of the three-way call, because as I am doing this more and more, and we touched upon it last week a little bit when we talked about the power of the three-way call. And, I open-heartedly admitted that sometimes when I am, when I'm at my best, right? But sometimes I tend to let myself get in the way of my wealth, right? Because we are our own biggest enemy at times. And, we get into our mindset and it will play tricks on us. And we're like, oh, we don't want to bother our upline. And, I don't want to bother my sponsor. And man, I don't want to necessarily do this. But it is so, so powerful that we utilize the power of the three-way call, because the power of the three-way call, it's not only for a testimony, right? It's not only that you're getting it so that person, thank you. We're not only doing that so that person can have another story, but facts tell and stories sell. And it's like, when you do have the power of the three-way call, the reason why it's so powerful is because you, as the person that is showing the prospect, you are the connector, right? You are the connector with the prospect and with your upline or with the expert, right? And the reason why you want to do that is because I have a lot of people a lot of times that they don't even get started because of the information, right? They get started for the ability to even work with someone of the caliber of a Josh Valentine, with someone of the caliber of a Jay Paisel, of a Jay Aowen, of a Kia Valentine, with someone to be able to even work with me, right? And it's not to toot my own horn, but I know what it is that I bring to the table, the value that I add, right? So a lot of times it's like people, facts tell and stories sell, but utilize your upline, right? Because it's like the power of the three-way call. It's a triangle, and it's like you're at the top of that triangle and you are connecting your prospect to the expert. So how do you do that? Well, I'm going to edify. And to edify does not mean to add a lie. To edify means, hey, listen, I'm going to build up, right? To edify means to build up, right? Or to highlight. So you're going to say 2 to 3 things about your expert, right? You're going to say 2 to 3 things about your expert to your prospect. And then here's what we need to do also. And you want to return edification as well, right? You want to also edify your prospect, but be careful with that, because there's like a little thin line where it's like, I'm edifying my prospect and I'm going to make them feel like they're the bomb.com. But I am never, and if you don't know what that means like they're amazing, right? They're like just exceptional. So I'm going to make them feel like they are, because they are special. However, I am not going to make them feel more special or more successful than the expert, right? Than my upline. Because the truth of the matter is, when I tell somebody, I know your life will genuinely and drastically be different just because you partnered up with Josh and Kia Valentine. Why? Because I've experienced it, right? Because I've had teammates experience that. So when I tell somebody that, I say it with certainty, understand? But I am bridging the gap between my prospect and the expert. And it is so important to do that, because it's like, as successful as you are, as much of an expert as you are, you never want to come off as you're too high almighty, right? You always want to be humble. I always say, don't let success get to your head and don't let the losses get to your heart, right? Always stay humble and hungry. But I am a strong believer that it's like, you also want to let people know what it is that they need to do when they get started. And here's why, because people will not do what you say, they will do what you do, right? So if I'm getting somebody started and I'm taking them through the system and I say, hey, when you're showing somebody, right, lead with why, do your 3-step setup. However, when you're done, call me for a 3-way. But they're going to be like, what does that mean if you didn't call anybody for a 3-way call? But you know what? 9 out of 10 times people always say, oh, I do remember that. I remember you got that guy on. I remember you got that girl on when you showed me. Okay, so I got to do it just like that. Yup. Again, the system we spoke about last week, saving yourself some time, energy, and money, right? Following the system, the power of the 3-way call. And as we're getting into the power of the 3-way call, and we're talking about closing. See, I've been talking, and we'll have them on the Breakfast Club call soon, but been having, and a lot of us have been hearing, right, the noise, and it's not even noise, it's just like a monstrous, just, right, that Colombia is doing right now. And I've had secret insomnia for the last 3 days. Like I have not been able to sleep. And I took like 8 or 10 boosters, by the way. So anyways, I digress. So what I was saying is, seeing, when having personal conversations with Diego Gomez, who just hit diamond, with Peter Cluck, who just hit diamond, with John, who just hit Ruby, like, and hearing these women, Stephanie, she put in 15 personals in 4 hours. What? You know why? It's because of the certainty that they have. It's because of the hunger that they have. The average income is 300 to 400. See, there are no other opportunities over there. And a lot of times, because we live in the land of the free and the home of the brave and opportunity, it's like we live in the land of opportunity. So we tend to squander it from time to time, right? Can you relate to that? And it's like, it's okay, because, the mindset is, well, if it doesn't work out today, I still have time tomorrow. And it's at some point we have to stop putting off for tomorrow what we can conquer today. Because I'll tell you, it's absolutely inspiring and beyond motivating. But the reason why they're having the success that they're having is because they're certain. They're hungry. They're moving with speed. Success loves speed. So the reason when they're closing and they're having these conversations, 9 out of 10 times, it's not a presentation. It's a conversation. But what's closing is the conviction. It's the certainty. Shalanda, the agent that put in 15 personals in 4 hours is Stephanie, right? Stephanie B. I can't think of her last name right now, but you can look up the recording, right? And you can listen to it. So my point is, it's the certainty, it's the conviction, it's them knowing that when they pick up the phone and they're talking to somebody, there is no other opportunity. There is no excuse. Oh, some people are like, it's like, what I love the most about what we have is like, if somebody is like, well, skincare is not really my thing. Okay. My immediate rebuttal, right, is usually like, so do you want to die? No, I'm just joking. Because healthcare is, right? But what I love about what we have is like, if somebody says, well, skincare is not my thing, well, how about travel? Well, how about health and nutrition? Like yesterday, right, I showed somebody that had just got started. And this is why we also need to just move faster. And I'm always going to be transparent. But she had just got started with New Skin. Trash. And I'm not talking bad about another network marketing company. I'm not saying that company was trash. I'm saying that I didn't get fast to her enough was trash, because she was a leader once in an organization that I was building. So my point of the matter is, I had no hesitation to tell her, I know we're better than New Skin. And I'm not saying it to bash any company. I said, but it's old. And it's a reason why it's so saturated. I said, but what we have, nothing can compare. And I said, listen, I'm not going to tell you too much things about what their products have or what they don't have. But see, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drop value on what our products have, because we have to know what our products contain. So when you're talking about the health and nutrition, do you know that it's non-GMO? Do you know that it's dairy and soy free? Do you know that it's gluten free? Do you know that it's kosher certified? Do you know that it's Informed Sports certified? Do you know that what that actually means, right? And why I'm telling you this, why I'm sharing this with you, is because you have to know what we have our hands on, so that you know that we have the best opportunity for people, period. You understand? So, okay, somebody is like, well, I wanna travel. Awesome. We have the best of that. Somebody is like, well, I want to do a little bit of both. Well, guess what? We have that too. So it's something for everyone, but it's like, how certain are you about this opportunity? Because your conviction is going to close somebody. So if somebody is telling you, well, I've never done anything like this. Awesome, right? I was there too at a point. And it's like, you always want to, when somebody is telling you, there's different techniques, right? You know, feel, felt, found is one of them. Like, I feel you where you're coming from. I felt the same way, but what I found out is then, and then you give them a solution, right? And there's so many different ways to go about that. However, when I know that sometimes if I'm talking to somebody that knows network marketing, or that actually understands this industry and has worked with me in the past, and I've taught them feel, felt, found, I don't want them to know that I'm using feel, felt, found on them, right? I don't want them to know that I'm closing them using the closing techniques. So I might switch it up with them a little bit. I'm gonna be like, listen, I understand completely where you're coming from, because I was there too at one time. And what I've noticed is that if I didn't change nothing, nothing was going to change, because the truth of the matter was that I never thought that I was going to be successful in a product-based company, right? That started being centered in skincare and in health and nutrition. I said, but do all of us have a skin? Yeah, we all have a face. We all kind of have one of those, and nobody wants to get uglier sooner, right? And I say that and I chuckle, but it's the reality. Like, I don't care what it is that you do, but nobody wants to look uglier and older sooner. That's just the reality, right? And nobody wants to get older. Nobody wants to gain more weight, right? So the truth of the matter is, so even if health was never a priority for you in your life, and I had this conversation with somebody, I said, okay, so if health, I get it that you never thought that health was, something that was important, and it's kind of like, now it is, but did you catch COVID? No. Do you know somebody that did? Yes. Did you lose somebody or know somebody that lost somebody because of it? Yes. So can we agree that health is at the forefront of all of our priorities in the day and age we live in? And it's like, use the news to your advantage. Use the news to your advantage. I thank God, and knock on wood, right? But I am a strong believer that one of the reasons that I have not got COVID and I will not get COVID is because I take Immunex daily. It's because I take greens. It's because I take care of my body. It's because of what I'm putting in my body every single day. It's because I work out, but it's a combination. So it's like, what are you putting in your body? And I tell people, I have no problem telling people with no hesitation whatsoever. See, I know that once you try these products, you'll be a return customer. I know that you'll feel better. So if you don't want to make money, and if the business is too overwhelming for you, and I'll take the business away from people ASAP, right? I'll take it away from them. And I say, look, and if the business is too overwhelming for you, and you're not at a point that you can actually dedicate time to your dreams and your goals and your freedom, I understand. I can't relate, but I understand, right? However, your health, unless you have another body hanging up in your closet somewhere that we don't know about, you shouldn't be putting anything else in your body but Life by Secret. I said, you don't do the business, cool. You don't want to do skincare, cool. You don't want to do the travel, cool. But unless you have another body hanging in your closet, you shouldn't be putting anything else in your body by Life by Secret. And then I stay silent. And 9 out of 10 times, I'm like, you know what? You're right. You're right. So when I was putting in packs back to back, that's always the mindset. but it's also, that's what the closing is the conviction. You close because of the power of the three-way call. You're also closing because of how certain you are. Yes. And it's no medical claims. Absolutely, Delicia. We can speak so much about what we have without making any medical claims. Like, I low-key love when people challenge me and be like, oh, I'm in another company. I'm like, that's just trash. But no, I'm just joking, right? I'm not saying necessarily, but that is garbage, right? But what I mean is that there's nothing like what we have. There's nothing like what we have. There's a lot of companies that try to formulate their own health products, right? And you see them always changing, and you see that it does not last. Why is that? Why do you think it is? Well, because they don't have a 30-year plus medical veteran, right? They don't have a Dr. Howard Cohn. They don't have what we have. They don't have somebody that has serviced over 50,000 patients. Like, what? My daddy has been a doctor all my life. I'm 36 years young, okay? My daddy has been a doctor all my life. I told my dad the other day, I said, how many patients you visited? He said something to me. I said, Dr. Howard visited 50,000, has helped 50,000. I said, you older than him. How you visited more patients? How you help more patients than you? Right? Obviously, the Dominican Republic is different, but my dad's probably seen the same amount of patients or more. But my point of the story is, do you know who is leading your ship? Do you know what you have your hands on? Because all of these things you're going to utilize to close people. Know your product. Like, you need to know your customer, right? Know your products, know your story, right? Do you know that we were the #1 Dead Sea mineral company in the world? Do you know that we are the only company that L'Oreal manufactures our products, but that they do not own us? Do you know that we are the first network marketing company that earned over $1 billion in sales before we transitioned into a direct sales company? Historic. Do you know that we are the only network marketing company that is in the top 100 of direct selling news in travel? There's a lot of things that we need to know, because they are tools that we utilize to close. See, the more certain you are about the opportunity, the more convicted you are about what you have your hands on, nothing and nobody can ever deter you. Nothing and nobody can ever feed you BS, because it's like, the reality is this: it's either they're going to close you on their obstacles, or you're going to close them on the opportunity. They're going to close you on their limiting beliefs, or you're going to close them on the opportunity. They're going to close you on their circumstances that are so overwhelming, that they're so dark that they can't even see the light if they tried. Or you're going to close them on the vision of freedom. You're going to close them on the vision of the Ben Shabbat story. You're going to close them on what Secret can do for their life. And why partnering up with you is the differentiating factor. But how do we become the differentiating factor? How do you become, like my amazing leader and upline loves to say, the filet mignon of uplines, right? And it's funny because I heard Josh say this one time. He's like, I'm the filet mignon of uplines. Like, that's just why when the storms come, I don't got to worry about nothing, because my team, they would be crazy to leave me. And I was just like, I remember before, right, I actually worked with Josh, that I used to hear him say that all the time. And I was just like, this cocky, confident, amazing guy, right? But guess what? When I came over to Secret, I got restarted again with Josh and Kia. And I've noticed that that's the actual truth. That is the truth, right? And I was just like, how do I continuously become the filet mignon of uplines? Like, I want to be that. And a lot of people are like, you already are. But okay, again, it's modeling. So it's like, I know nobody works on their craft and on themselves more than him, right? So it's like, consistently, continuously working on yourself. See, if your team did what you did today, would there be more sales in the system or would there be less? Would there be more prosperity on your team and in the company, or there would be more problems? Because what behaviors are you engaging in every single day? What is your daily method of operation? What does your income producing activities look like? Right? Because here you get paid in public for what you do in private, right? But what you're doing in private, it's the forging that's going on, right? It's the strengthening that's going on. It's you putting on that armor, right? And it's like, we have to, on a constant basis, continuously, never ending improvement, continuously, iron sharpens iron, iron sharpens iron, right? So Monday through Friday, guess what we do? At 5 p.m., we get on the Build for the Crown session, right? It's an accountability call, right? Where we not only share best practices, we do our Pomodoro technique, and we invite strategically, right? We invite strategically for that power hour. But it is a time that we are dedicating to our business, is a time that we're dedicating to ourselves to get better. If somebody can please put in the link to the Build for the Crown session, and it is open to everybody, right? But it's not just a kumbaya session. It's a session where we go to get better, where we go to apply the tools that we're learning, where we go and make the phone calls, because there's a lot of things that we don't want to do. But guess what? We got to make those phone calls. It's like, a lot of people are like, oh, I got to go look for Colombians. You better go look in the mirror. And that was me talking to me too. It's like, oh my God, why are they so hungry? Why aren't you? Why are they moving so fast? It's like, because they're hungry, because they're certain, because they're picking up the phone more. So it's like, we can't get mad at the results that we don't have based off the work that we're not putting in. Thank you, Suheni. Right? So it's like, when you're closing people, the conversations that you're having, do you know that you are on the ground floor opportunity of $1 billion opportunity? Do you know that you are on the ground floor opportunity of a company with $1 billion infrastructure? Do you know the entire story? Do you know what you have your hands on? Do you know that all of our products are 100% 30-day money back guarantee? So we're losing, actually, when you try our products. And you don't want, like, you understand? So it's like, it's, what do you know that is going to allow you to close, right? What system? Again, back to the system. Save yourself some time, energy, and money. The 3-way. It's Monday through Friday, Miss Faith, right? The 3-way call. Are you edifying your sponsor? Are you edifying your upline? Are you connecting? Are you bridging the gap, right? Are you working on yourself day in and day out so that you can continuously be that leader, right? Because the speed of the pack is the speed of the leader. The speed of the team is the speed of the leader every single time. So it's like, we want our teams to do more. Guess what we have to do? We have to do more. We have to go faster. We have to pick up the phone more. But when you're closing people and you're overcoming objections, it's like, yes, use the feel, felt, found technique, but overcome objections. And if you're the person that's like, well, I'm tired of getting the time objection. I'm tired of getting the money objection. I'm tired of getting the spouse objection. I'm tired of getting, what other objections? Time, money, spouse. Those are pretty much like the biggest ones, right? What are some other objections? And here's what I've done also. Belief, you're right, but somebody, 9 out of 10 times, people won't tell you. People won't flat out and tell you, be like, I don't believe I could do this, right? And I love when people be like, I don't believe I could do this. I said, did you ever believe that you could ride a bike? And I know sometimes, and I don't recommend you to do that all the time. This is my personality, okay? So again, take it with a grain of salt. But I'm like, was there a point in your life that you couldn't do something, but you did it? Oh yeah, I learned. I said, this is the same thing. And I just love putting the mirror in people's faces, because in closing, all it is you sharing your conviction, is whose certainty is going to win. whose certainty is going to win. See, I don't care what they tell me. I know my certainty is going to win every single time because I'm certain that this opportunity can change their life. I'm certain that if they don't have belief working with me, you will believe in yourself. There has not been one person that has worked with me for 6 to 12 months or longer and has not become the best version of them. And that is one thing. You hang around me long enough, you're going to believe in yourself. Are you ready to make those changes? Because your kids need you to. Let's get you started. So it's like, it's with authority, but with conviction, but also with humility, because I want people to know, it's like, I care about you. I care about you telling your kids know that are your why that's looking you in your eyes every single day. I care about what your goals are, right? Somebody tells me it's a scam. I love when people tell me that. I'm like, and I just educate people, right? I used to tell them, yeah, it's a scam. Successfully creating a lot of millionaires, successfully creating a lot of memories. Pick which one you want, which scam you want. It's the best one. You ready to get started? One thing I don't deal with, right, is ignorance, but I do educate. So if somebody tells me that they think it's a scam, and I said, I will tell them, why do you think that? Right? I just gave y'all my right answer, and I'm gonna give y'all the correct answer, right? So why do you think that? Why is that? Okay, well, I've done something like this before. Okay, how long ago? Who'd you do that with? Okay, and they'll tell me, oh, I did this before, and I did that, and I did it with such and such, and that. I said, okay, cool. I said, listen, I could relate, because I've done over a dozen multi-level marketing companies, but I never did one with Marcus Sutter. I never did one with Josh and Kia Valentine. I never did one with Jay Peso. I never did one with JAON, but I'm doing this one with them, right? I said, and here's what I do know, that if you do this one with me, it will be different, because we'll teach you the necessary skill sets, and you'll want to fail. You'll want to quit on you before I ever let you quit on you. Like, you'll stop believing in you before I stop believing in you. But if you don't change anything, what's going to change? And I understand, because I was there at one point too. I never thought things like this could work for people like me. And then I went to a training. And if you don't know what that training is, I'm not talking about like military boot camp training. I'm talking about like, or work training. No, it wasn't boring. I'm talking about like, imagine like a concert-like event that you can't even explain, that you can only experience. But what I experienced was listening to stories that sound just like you and just like me. I remember listening to a girl that walked into the wrong place, right? And years later, she became a 6-figure earner and was able to retire her dad. And I remember being at the stands, sitting next to my mom while she was walking stage with her dad, with tears in my eyes, promising my mom she was going to get freedom one day, right? So it's what the stories do for you that you learn at training. So it's like people quit what they're doing because they forget why they did it. But when you know why you're doing something, it don't matter the obstacles, it don't matter the storms, it don't matter what objection you get, you're always going to overcome it, because you're going to utilize the power of your story. You're going to utilize the conviction of your experience. You're going to cast vision. And the only difference between vision and a lie is action behind it. But the only way through is through. Are you going to do what you said you were going to do? Right? So it's like, yes, casting vision and utilizing the power of training. Share your story. Share your story. It's like the more we share, the more we bless people with this opportunity. I believe that each and every single person who's on this call right now, and I know we're almost wrapping it up, but who's on this call right now that's like, I'm ready to be Crown Royale. Like, I'm going to be Crown Royale, whether it's this year, whether it's next year, like, I'm ready to be Crown Royale. Like, I want you to put CR in the chat really quick, right? And send it to everyone, right? I see you, Latoya. I see you, Miss Faith. I see you, Georgie. I see you, Nikki. Yes, Tiffany. Yes, Sue. Let's go, Martell. I see you, Krista. Yes, Sue's that person that's like, no matter what, like at some point, I'm going to be a Crown Royale, right? Like all I see is that. The only way through is through, right? but faith without works is dead. And it's like, at some point, if we're saying, it's like, okay, this is the vision that we have. This is where we see ourselves going. We know where we're at and we know where we're going. We have to know that it's a step out of time, but give yourself some grace. Be kind to yourself. Give yourself some grace. Give yourself some room for error. Nobody is perfect. Nobody expects you to be. But here's what we do, though. We own it. Own your story. I own it. Listen, if you know me, you know, right? I have no problem telling them, like, yeah, my bad. I messed up. I'm sorry. I could have done that differently. I'm gonna do better. I'm learning, right? I'm fighting to do better. I'm working on it. But it's like, it's having that conviction, having that certainty. You know, we heard a few weeks back from Roscoe and Michelle Taylor. Absolutely love the Taylors. Shout out to them, right? And they were talking, and it's like, Roscoe was like, man, all we were doing is having 5-minute conversations. The certainty is the energy. So it's like, that's what's closing. Yes, Miss Marlene. Yes, Miss Faith. Yes, Diana. I love to see the chats blowing up. Yes, Danelle. Right? So it's that certainty and that conviction. And let me tell you something. You can have certainty and you can have conviction and you can be classy, because I can be very certain and very convicted, and I don't have to bash another company. I can just highlight what we have. I can just highlight who we're partnered with. I can just talk about that experience at the Ben Shabbat dinner. I can talk about my experience at Playbook. I can talk about the first time I met Isaac. I can talk about the Dead Sea story, the Ben Shabbat story. I can talk about how Ron Walden is a GOAT. And when it comes to entertainment, ain't nobody messing with him. Like, the stuff that is coming out for Club Secret, sheesh. But are you able to talk about what we have our hands on? Because that is what's going to allow you to close, how convicted you are. Somebody's going to close you on their obstacles or the limiting belief, or you're going to close them on why this is the opportunity that they should be seizing within the lifetime of the opportunity. This has been your Breakfast Club call for Thursday, March 17, 2022. Thank you guys so much for joining. Always a pleasure to serve you guys. Breakfast has been served. I'm going to open it up for 2 more minutes for Q&A. If there's anything that you guys, any objections that I did not address, or anything that needs to be addressed that you feel like I did not cover, feel free to ask really, really quick. Let's see. Any questions? Okay. Awesome.